Hello and welcome. In this video we are going to spawn a coin. We are going to start off with importing the coin sprite. Then we are going to create a scene, and finally we will write the script for spawning the coin. While writing the script we will see some different ways to make its position random, and a way to spawn it according to the player's position. So I hope you are ready to dive in. Let's start off with importing the sprite. So go into the description of this video and click the link. Then go into your file explorer and drag the file that you just downloaded it into the Godot project. So now let's create the coin node. So go in and click on this plus sign. Go in and take to the scene, call it coin, and click Ctrl S to save it. Now put it into your scenes folder and call it coin. And let's create a sprite 2D here. And let's put in this coin texture. Like this. Now it's all blurry, so click on texture and have it nearest. And we have way too many of them because it's an animation. So we will have to create an animation player to show them all. So let's just start off with region and put it into, let's see how many there are. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 128 by 16, so 128 divided by 8 and then 16, like that. Then you can get the first coin. Now let's create an animation player. And let's create a new animation called coin idle. And let's create a property track for 2D texture and property track for 2D region rect. And let's configure the size of it. So frames per second, and then there is 8. So let's take 8 frames and let's put in the keys. And let's go in and configure these. So go in here and put it into 0, here into 16 and 32 and so on. And now put it into direct, and it should be working. As you can see here, it is. So now we have created the coin scene. Now let's go in and put it to loop and auto start. Now let's go into the game and create the node for having the spawner script on it. So let's create a node and call it coin spawner. Let's add a script called coin spawner and let's put it into scripts. Let's open and put it into C# and create. And here we can just delete the methods and export a timer for when we have to spawn one more coin. And let's export a private packed scene, which is the node that we're going to spawn. And let's say public override word ready. And let's subscribe to the event called timeout is plus equal to handle spawn coin. The reason we say handle over here is because it's a great convention to when you create an event, so when you raise it, you just say on, and when you have a method like this, you just say handle. So let's create this method, so click on Control Dot, and generate method. Now in here we will have to create logic for spawning it. So the way we spawn it is by saying node2d coin instance is equal to coin scene dot instantiate node2d. The reason we have to use these generic things here is because it can work for any type. And here it will work for node2d, and we have to put the correct type in. And the correct type in this case is the type of the coin, which we can see is the node2d. So that's why we use this. Now to put it into the scene, we have to make it a child of some object inside of the scene. This could be the root of it, like this one, node2d, which is the game. So let's try to do that. So get tree, we have to call this method to get the current tree. And now we have to say that current scene to get the current scene node, which is the parent of them all, which is the node2d over here. And now we can say that add child. And let's put coin instance in here. So this will mean that when we put in timeout, it will do this, and then we will have to start it again. The way we do that is by saying spawn cooldown timer node dot start, and then it will loop forever like that, as long as we put auto start in. So let's create in here, let's put in a timer called spawn coin timer, and this timer will have to be on auto start. And here we can change when we are spawning it. This will mean if we are spawning it every single second, we can put this to 1, and we can then go into this one and put it in scene here, which we already have created. So just click on load and scenes and coin.tcn. Now let's go in and play it. So as you can see, it's spawning this small coin over here. So let's just scale it up a little bit to make it look better. Let's go into this one and let's say R to scale it up, and let's put it into this size, and hold shift to make it like just scale in both the X and the Y in the same amount. So if we scale it up to here, we can probably see it pretty good, like that. Now we get to the position. So let's create a method that will return a vector 2 for the square position that we're going to create. So what we are trying to do here is that we're trying to create it in a square on the screen. And then this square we will have those kind of coins. So let's export a private float max x, comma max y. And this comma will mean that we are creating 2 of these. So we are both creating a max y and a max x. And this is the same as saying export private float max x and export private float max y, but just in one line. Now that we have done this, we know what those are, so we will also have to create a min x and a min y. And now that we are done with this, we can just go in and say, let's create a new method called private vector 2 get random position in square. And we already have the access to these, so we don't care about them. Or that will mean we don't care about putting them into these parameters, because we already have them up here. So now let's get a new vector. So float random x is equal to, we have to create float because we will get a double dd dot range, which will return us a random number in between the from and to. This will mean it will return from min x to max x, for example here. And this will like create a random number in between min and max. And then it will assign it to the random x variable up here. And let's do the same for the y. Like that. And now we just have to return the position. So call return for returning something. And let's say new vector 2 random x, random y. Let's say coin instance dot position is equal to get random position in square. And let's test it out. We have to like put in a min and a max. So let's say 10, 10, minus 10 and minus 10. And let's test it out. So as you can see, we are spawning a coin. And let's just create a camera to like move the camera. So create a new node, camera 2D. This camera will be the one on the screen over here now. And you can see the coin here and the coin over there. So you can see that it is working. But I think we will have to create a lot more, like 1000 and 1000 and minus 1000 and minus 1000 to make it look much more scattered, like there and there. And now you can see that it's spawning it in a square kind of way with all of these coins. But what if we want to do it in a circle? Let's go in and learn about a polar coordinate system. So this is like the polar coordinate system. Here we have a kind of line, which is the baseline, and this has an angle of 0 and a length of 1. So if we want to say this as a vector, we can say 1.0, because a polar vector is the length of it and then the angle of it. And here the angle is 0 and the length is 1. Let's try to create another vector, this one, which has an angle of 90 and a length of 1. So that's equal to 190. And let's just show why we need to do this. For example, we have a length of 2, if that's the max length that we're going to use in the circle. Now we can create a circle around this with a radius of 2. And we can just say, okay, the length is 2, random. And then we are going to get a random in between this. And we know that the length has to be max 2, so we can say the number that we're going to get over here, let's call it x, that's less than 2. And then we will have this random, which is more than minus 180. And less than 180. Or equal to 180, like that. So this is the way we are going to use it. The way we go from polar to Cartesian is we have, for example, this coordinate system. Let's take over here and put this vector that we have here over to Cartesian. So we just say cos to the angle of 90, that's equal to x, and y is equal to sin to the angle of 90, which is equal to 0, 1. So that's over here. let's go in and create the random circle behavior of spawning the coin. So now let's go in and create the circle random number. So create a private vector to get random position in circle. And here we will return a vector, but before we can do that, we will have to export a private float max length. So let's get an angle. Float angle is equal to float dd dot range minus 180 to 180. And now let's create a float. Radius is equal to float dd dot range 0 to max length. Let's actually also export a min length. So min length, so it's from min length to max length. And let's get it out here. So float x is equal to radius times float math f dot cos to radius and float y, which we don't have to do, as you remember. We can just say y is equal to radius times float math f dot sin to radius. And now that we have done this, we can just return new vector 2 x, y. And let's go up here and try to do this instead. So get random position in circle. And if we do this, we can see that we have to assign this instead. And let's put this to 1000 and let's put to 100. So let's see it. There we have one, there we have one. And you can see the circle is kind of like this, but you can't see any difference because it's so big. So if we say 100 to 10, here we can see it pretty much. And we can see the circle is coming to life. And that's great. So now let's make it possible in the inspector to pick if you want to do the circle or if you want to do the square. So go into the script again and go in here and create an enum. Let's call it public enum spawn method. And let's create one for square and one for circle. Let's export one of these up. Export private spawn method is equal to spawn method dot circle, for example here. And now let's use it here. Now let's learn about a switch statement. Coin instance dot position is equal to spawn method switch. And here you can put in some different things, for example spawn method dot square is equal to to get random position in square. So the way this works is that you're saying, okay, we have this one. This is like the thing that we want to check here, if the spawn method is equal to the spawn method.square, then do this. And the thing we do here is that we say coin instance position is equal to this one. And it's like the same way as saying if spawn method is equal to spawn method dot square, then do your stuff. For example, coin instance dot position is equal to get random position in square, like that. And now you can create an else if and so on. Else if spawn method is equal to spawn method dot circle, and now you can go in here and say coin instance dot position is equal to get random position in circle, like that. And you can keep on going with these else if statements if you find no solutions to this problem. So that's the reason we create this. And instead of doing this, we can also say switch spawn method, and like this. And then we can say case spawn method dot square. So spawn method dot square. Then do something. In this case, let's say coin instance dot position is equal to get random position in square. And now let's call break, and let's create a case spawn method dot circle, and let's say coin instance dot position is equal to get random position in circle and break. And now I can do like an else statement, for example, just in a switch like this one. Then you can just say default break, like that. So instead of doing this one, we can just do this with some other syntax. And here you just have to put a semicolon and do this like this. Spawn method dot circle is equal greater than get random position in circle, like that. And then you can say is equal greater than coin instance dot position, for example. So what this does is that it says coin instance dot position is equal to spawn method switch. So the spawn method, it's the one that we put in like here and here and here, and the coin instance position, we will get these things out here. And it's only when you have to assign something to a variable that you can use this kind of switch statements. Else you're going to have to use this kind of switch statement. So if we delete this and we delete this, we can see that it's working. So let's go in and see if it's working. And it is. Here you can see the circle. And if we go in and put it into a square, then you can see the square that's coming out here. So now let's go in and create a bool to make it spawn according to where the player is. So if you go into your script again, you can like create a bool up here and export it. So export private bool according to player position, and then we can just go in here and say if not according to player position, then do this, and else let's just do this but with a player position, which we can just export to get the player node. So private node to the player node, and let's take player node dot position plus that one, and player node dot position plus that one. And now this should be working. So let's try it out. And let's put it into this node. And here we can assign this to make it according, or we cannot do that if we don't want to. But let's just take this into a bit low, like this. Like I think 50 is perfect for now. Just for testing. And let's try to put it on. So you can see here that we are moving according to the player. And if we move our player over here, you can see that it's spawning near the player instead of a random position. So that's how to make it more according to the player. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have any questions or need help with anything, please let me know. I would appreciate a thumbs up if you liked the video. And please subscribe if you want to see more about how to create games. I will see you in the next video.